Man, I believe I might be live. I can't even tell. It says I am. Oh, hold on. What's really going on? I at least wanted to get my little 10, 15-second warm up. Let me see how I can play a commercial right quick. Get ready. Y'all caught me slipping. Y'all caught me slipping. Let's see. Oh, my goodness. Media assets. I think that's what I'm looking for. What's up? What's up? What's up? All right, y'all caught me slipping. Y'all caught me slipping. My apologies. It is January the 15th, 2025. It was my fault. I missed last week. I just forgot it was Wednesday. I guess for real, I might be getting old and see now because I damn sure forgot it. Me and Theo talked about it, and when I woke up, it was Thursday, and I'm like, man, I was supposed to do something, and I couldn't remember what. And I was like, man, Wednesday come before Thursday. So here I am. I'm getting old and see now. All right, but anyway, welcome to 2025. This is the first show of the year. We're gonna get some things crack-a-lacking. I know I'm running late. Y'all know I'm still doing extra duties, and sometimes on Wednesday, y'all cousins don't want to play fair. So Theo got something he wanted to talk about, and I want to make sure I get him used to it because I know in 2 Wednesdays I'm being in California, and y'all know what that means. California is a 3-hour time difference, so it would be 3 something in California, and I would still be at work. So we'll see. We'll see if the boss man want me to do a late show, which for y'all would be, I finish about 6:30. It will put me somewhere around 9 o'clock. And I might be tired. I don't know yet, but we'll see what the boss say. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be a little bit more user-friendly this year. I'm not going to be as hostile and aggressive with people who are trying to work with me. Now, don't get that twisted. Hear the phrase now. I'm not going to be so aggressive with people who are trying to work with me. So for those of y'all who keep doing crazy shit, DVP is going to be DVP. So, let that be understood. So let me just say this first of all. This has been bothering me now. Because one of my side gigs, I actually deal with a lot of death. And it's amazing to me how the conversation is still so taboo in the Black community. I'm not getting it. You can have a relative that's in the hospital. And I'm going to give you a little slack, not a whole lot. You can have a relative that's in a nursing home. You can have a relative that's in hospice. So let me just put this into you in blunt terms. When they're in hospice, you should already, before they got there, have decided on the funeral home and burial arrangements, whether it's going to be cremation, whether it's going to be a traditional funeral. Y'all should have decided that. That's not something you decide while they're in hospice. Truly, it's not something you decide in the nursing home. I mean, but these are things that we have to talk about early, and the age doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. Because death don't give a shit about how old you are. This is something that's got to be said as soon as you start realizing that you got somebody in your life, whether you want to accept this or not. Last year, I did 9 kids that were under 10. I think 3 or 4 were teenagers. 3 or 4 of them committed suicide. So it's never too early to plan for this, because in the heat of the moment when something happens, everybody is kind of out of it. So that's not a good time to be making decisions. It's not a good time to have a lot of conversations, because quite frankly, most of us just ain't cut out for it at that time. And that's okay. It really is. But understand that these are things that have to be done in life. One of my friends was in a car wreck. She lost her daughter. No insurance, no funeral plan. It's so hard something to think about. I'm a parent. I got a wife. I got a mama. But it's borderline asinine for me to not think that someday something may happen to them. It's even more asinine to think that something won't happen to me. I'm gonna be 60 this year. Yeah, I'm in perfect health. There's no such thing as perfect health once you pass your teenage years. We're all declining. The minute we die, we're growing, but we're still on the decline. The clock is going to run out. And I don't want it to sound harsh like, you shouldn't care, but you got to prepare for these things. Roy sitting in the background, Roy almost, like I said, we want to live forever, but ain't nobody done it yet. So why not make it easier for everybody else if at least the conversation has been had so that people know what they want? I got one family arguing about a cremation or a funeral. I'm gonna have some professionals on here again, and I'm gonna just say this: do what you want to. I'm just giving you my opinion now. This ain't. As a matter of fact, Roy, make sure we get the disclaimer so I can play the disclaimer when I say something that might be a little too radical. To say this ain't JB. This ain't what JB and think. Make sure I get just a reel for that. Most of y'all can't afford a funeral. Let's just face simple facts, and most of y'all shouldn't even be trying to afford a funeral. A cheap funeral is right around $9,000. A cheap funeral. An expensive cremation is around $4,000. That's if you buying an expensive urn, multiple. You getting top of the line stuff. And for those of y'all who are still of the belief with the whole burial thing, and I'm not knocking you, I'm just asking you to think about this. For all the people that you know now who have perished, that you was a loved one or somebody that you deeply cared about, ask yourself, how many times have you been to the gravesite? Just ask yourself. And if you ain't holding up a whole hand and then some, understand what you're paying for. You're paying for somebody to be in the ground that you ain't going to see no more. So you paid all this money. And again, I ain't knocking what you do, but you can get something. Let me see. This don't count, but you can get a chain or a pendant and keep the ashes of your loved one with you, or something to that effect, or a bracelet. And then they're with you all the time. So when you're sitting around and you're thinking about somebody that you lost, they're right there with you. You can get an urn and put them on your mantle or wherever you want to keep them, by your bedside, but you got them right there so they're with you. Most people do not go back to a gravesite, but we will spend in excess of $15,000 to bury somebody that we ain't going back to ever see again, out of respect for the dead, out of whatever it is that you got caught up in. But now you're finna go broke to bury somebody who is dead. Now, I was fortunate. My family is fortunate. My grandparents, my great-grandparents had the foresight to buy plots. They got a plot for about 15 people. So everybody, a lot of people in my line, they got somewhere to go. I still want to be cremated. I don't want to be there. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me to spend that money, because you still got to pay for a cash. You still got to pay for the plot now. Cremation. But this is a conversation that we can't keep running from. It's 2025, and it makes no sense. A cheap cremation is $850. $850, and that's if you don't even know nobody. If you know somebody, you might be able to get it cheaper than that. Because, like I say, what you're really paying for now is the urn, or what if you want something special with the cremains is what they call them. Yeah, they'll give them to you in an envelope. You ain't got to get no urn, nothing, because people who get them in an envelope or a box and they throw them at sea, I mean, you can bring your own shoebox. But if you just want to have something to remember them by, then get a necklace, get a pendant or something, and put some ashes in there. But I'm seeing families argue about cremation versus a burial. And they actually, one started a GoFundMe to pay for a funeral. The other one want to pay for a cremation, but they can't agree on this. And unfortunately, I didn't know this. When a person is getting cremated, the majority of the family, brothers and sisters, the kids, or what, they have to agree to it. So again, ladies and gentlemen, if you have a will or an advance directive, you can take all of this out of their hands by stating what you want. And an advance directive, for those of y'all that don't understand, because people love to tell me about power of attorney or medical this or medical that. When you're dead, nothing matters to a deputy coroner. Nothing matters to the ME. Nothing matters to anybody other than an advance directive. An advance directive states what you want done in death. A power of attorney means you get to say something while somebody is living. Once you die, that power of attorney ain't worth shit. Ain't worth shit. Okay? So, strictly when we're dealing with, and this is strictly about death. Like I said, and I know it's one of them things that nobody wants to talk about. But ladies and gentlemen, we got to talk about it because I'm seeing too many people. Y'all treating death like Christmas now. Y'all will go all in for one day and be broke the rest of the year. And explain the logic to me. Especially if most of y'all know that y'all ain't been to a grave site other than the one time of the funeral. Imagine paying somebody to cut your grass. Imagine paying them $1,000 a month in perpetuity just to come cut your grass. Then we'd all stay in apartments with it just to keep from having our grass cut. So that's a conversation that you got to have. Like I said, even if you got little ones, you got to think if something happens to them, what's the plan? Like I said, it's a conversation nobody wants to talk about. And as we dwell more into uncomfortable conversations, these are things that have to be talked about with your parents, with your spouses, with your girlfriends, with your boyfriend, whoever is in your life. You need to let them know, hey, this is what I want. This is what I want. This is what I want. Because it's crazy. I'm listening to these kids argue about what they thought their dad wanted. So if you'd have put it on paper, that would have eliminated all that. And again, with the financial situation, everybody crying they ain't got no money. Everybody crying they ain't got no money. Can I have the shirt you're wearing and one of your guns when you check out? Well, first of all, Petty Reggie, my shirt's way too small for you. And my guns ain't even expensive enough for a dude like you. So I ain't even gonna insult you or offer you one of my guns. I wouldn't even do that to you. But I got you. Now, when you pass, can I get a little something? Just a little something. But yeah, that's insane. And I'm gonna use Petty Reggie because he ain't sensitive. Petty Reggie ain't got no wife, no kids. So when if something were to happen to him, it's more important for him because it's gonna go to, by law, his mother and father get first choice. If they're not around, then his sisters and brothers. And I'm sure Petty Reggie don't want them arguing about who's gonna do what. And because everybody always thinks somebody have some money, people love to want to do a lot of things. And I'm seeing this. Everybody want to do a big grand thing until you put your hand out and say how much you got on it. Woo! Then you hear crickets. Because ain't nobody got nothing on it. When we had death in my family, everybody wanted this nice, what do you call this thing? What do you call the thing they put them in? Casket. Everybody wanted a nice casket for my grandfather. So my mama said, okay, what y'all got on it? Then everybody looking. Oh, we thought you had it. Okay, so if I got it, this is what we getting. Oh, no, he deserved better than that. But you're not paying. But you got the money. You can afford this. What make you think this is what I want to do with my money? And that's the crazy part. Like I said, this is not an age thing. This is a being alive thing. If you're alive, if you got any assets, your advance directive needs to have them all set up. You can do a living will. You don't have to pay a lot of money for all these. I had a turn on one show. He said a lot of these things you're going to get done for free. You write them up, what you got, what you want to do with them. Go to the bank, or if y'all deal with a bank, or go to somebody who you know is a notary, have it notarized, and put it somewhere. Hell, if you got a doctor, let your doctor know. So when they start doing all this thing, I said, this is so crazy. I had a family arguing with the fire department about trying to save their loved one, but he's got to do not resuscitate. She wants to sue the nursing home because they didn't try to. He has a DNR. It means if something happens, he don't do it. And I'm just not getting it, ladies and gentlemen. But like I say, as we're doing 2025, I got away from it a little last year. We're gonna do more and more with uncomfortable conversations. Not talking about death does not stop it. Not teaching your kids about pedophiles and sex trafficking does not stop it. Not protecting your loved ones. And me and Roy we talked about this on the show a little while ago when his daughter was working at working overnight at a place by herself. He went up there to make sure she was okay. My mom reminded me of a time when there was a wreck on the highway, and me and Trina talked on the phone until she got somewhere safe. And this is one of the things where you want to start talking to people and set up plans. You don't want to wait till something happens and then try to figure it out. Power of attorneys are still enforced, but not in depth. They don't care about the power of attorney. Now, if you're dealing with assets, that power of attorney may still count. And I'm speaking strictly from a coroner medical examiner side, Joe. What's happening with you? So yeah, we still have to talk about these uncomfortable things so that we're prepared for them. At some point, ladies and gentlemen, you should have an emergency plan in case your house catches on fire. At some point, ladies and gentlemen, you should have emergency code words for your kids and loved ones just in case they're in trouble and they have to call you. And you need to know this code word when they say it. And it needs to be something that's easily placed in a sentence, but it doesn't make sense and it's really not out of place. And it's funny, when I was in Saudi Arabia, every week they gave us a new code word. And it was always dealing with weather. So that it was because what they would do is, what they did with us is somebody from command staff would call down to us and ask us a question. It's multiple choice. We pick either something normal or we say the code word. But, and I was looking at something, and, with these scams where people got to make phone calls and stuff, everybody needs to start doing these things. And it's something that we really don't think about. If I challenge you guys now, if wherever it is you live in, what happens if the house catches on fire? This room, that room. Where do y'all meet up at? Who is the emergency contact? Who is this? There needs to be some centralized information that everybody knows that this is what should happen next. And I know in this age of privacy, we all like our privacy. And I used to be so guilty of this. I used to take off and just take road trips, and I wouldn't tell anybody anything. I wouldn't even take my phones with me until I realized what was going on in the world. So now I'm not as easily invisible as I used to be. I'm invisible to regular people, but there are certain people that still know how to get me. Even when you want to disconnect, you kind of need to let people know what's going on so that there is a continuity, because this is what's happening, and especially to us as we make a concerted effort to be heard more, to be acknowledged more. I was looking at one of the new shows that Gabby, I think her name was Gabby Patino, the girl that was missing forever and ever, and the whole world was looking for her. Her dad is now hosting a show where they're going to focus on Black women or women of color who have gone unnoticed, and they've been missing and nobody seems to care. But he said he had no clue, and some people brought it up to him, and they started talking about white privilege, and he didn't understand what white privilege had to do with his daughter until they sat down and said, hey, well, my daughter's been missing for 3 months. You ain't seen one commercial about her. You ain't seen not one news story. And he said he kept getting this over and over and over again. And I think it's a great thing, even though he's going to monetize it. But now here you go. You have a father who lost his child, but he understands the plight of other parents now. It's parents of color who don't get the same coverage that Gabby Patino got, simply because they're not popular, they're too melanated, whatever it is. But again, this is something that we need to start paying attention to, because this is us. My plan, if my house catches on fire, is throw my ex-wife in there. Oh, I don't even know. And for those of y'all who reading Petty Reg, understand, he is one of my dearest friends. And he is what was this post that he's a pain in the ass, but I still love him. He got a heart of gold. Even if he gonna throw his ex-wife in the house if she catch on fire, he got a heart of gold. Don't let him fool you. But we got to start. We got to start having these conversations, ladies and gentlemen. We can't keep talking about things. We can't keep watching things. There was another school shooting today in Cobb County. There's a school shooting damn near every month now. Look how immune we've become to school shootings. Now, I'm still not a big fan of having kids have their cell phones. I think it's a hell of a distraction for most of them. But I understand the debate for letting them keep their phones, just in case something happens. I also understand. I understand as a cop the debate for having them keep their phone is if there's a shooter going around and their phone vibrate because the parent keeps trying to reach them, then you put your child front and center because their phone is making a noise when they're somewhere they should be quiet. So I see the pros and cons to it. But again, this is something that needs to be talked about. The schools are planning for this. Most of us, when we were in school, we had fire drills, we had all kind of drills just in case something happened. And ain't it crazy? The school would have a fire drill, but we never had a fire drill at home. Because, of course, houses never catch on fire. Never. I mean, it's only a thing. It's only something that happens at school. Workplaces never catch on fire. It's only a school thing. Because where else do we do fire drills? And it's crazy. The only other place I've ever done fire drills was at the jail. We had a plan for inmates if the jail caught on fire. I'm like, well, damn. But this is one of those things that we got to be a little bit more cognizant of when we start getting ready to do these things, because we won't talk about these at home. We know they exist. We know they exist. But what's the plan? What's the plan? Ladies and gentlemen, what's the plan when you're going home? When your loved one is going home? What's wrong with them using Glimpse or any of these other apps that will let you track them on the way? What's wrong with talking to them on the way home? And I said this before on the show, and this is mostly for the fellas. When your girl goes to the mall, your daughter goes to the mall, whatever, when they leave the mall, talk to them from the time they leave the mall until they get safely in the car and they're on the road. Once they're on the road and they can play the music and the door's locked, you can get off the phone with them. You know, because maybe y'all don't want to talk. But a lot of things happen in parking lots and nobody knows, because most of us are in cold white. White means you're just in a relaxed state of mind and you don't think shit is going to happen, which makes you easy to snatch up. And talking about bad things doesn't reinforce them happening. It just makes you ready for if they happen. But sitting around and well, I ain't going to say nothing. I ain't going to say nothing. That's never worked. That's never worked. Fellas, we can sit back and keep trying to blame women for everything. We can blame them for their bad decisions. And Lord knows they pick them. But so do we. At some point, we have got to protect what we're going to protect and stop blaming them for everything. Yeah, some of them will pick shitty dudes, and some of these dudes are really violent. And you can't tell them who they are up front. You know, I'm watching cases where guys are doing things. And again, women do shit. Right now, that's not my issue. This is about men holding men accountable for what they do. If you're going to make her your woman, then make her your woman and become her protector. You might not be able to provide for her. She may be the money maker. That does not mean that you can't be her protector. That does not mean that you cannot make sound decisions to make sure that she's okay. It don't mean none of that. And if you still want to play the field and not be loyal to nobody, and that's cool too. But when you're with her, then be with her. But don't get mad. Don't get mad and don't come with the little crocodile tears when something happened because you were too selfish to have a plan of action. And understand this. Understand this. They don't have to be your woman. They just have to be a woman that's in your circle. You ready to come on, Theo? We keep wanting to separate women that we're sleeping with or we're related to by blood or marriage. To me, is stupid on our part. Theo is here with me now, and I haven't met his fiance yet, but I'm willing to bet that Theo would be disappointed with me if his fiance was out somewhere and I just watched something happen to her and I had the mentality of, well, shit, she ain't my woman. I ain't sleeping with her. That's a dumbass mentality. Y'all act like y'all don't have wives, girlfriends, daughters, aunties, or whatever. The only way you're going to protect the woman if she's sleeping with you, which to me is even stupider, because most of these women that something happened to, they're sleeping with somebody and they ain't there either. At some point, we have to step up. The uncomfortable conversation, we have to step up. If we made a bad decision and picked the wrong woman, it ain't her fault. I got Theo here, and Theo is younger than me, but I'm willing to bet that Theo and Roy's in the background, Petty Reggie and Joe here. I'm willing to bet at one point there are not many things that encompass everybody, 100% of the population. But I'm willing to bet between the three guys that's hiding on the camera and the 2-3 in the audience, I'm willing to bet ain't now one of us not ever said, I'm grown. We made that statement, I'm grown. But then when it's time to grown shit, we were grown for a moment. Being grown ain't one of them things that you can do part-time. Either you is or you ain't. And how you gonna be grown when it comes to certain shit? You grown when it comes to sex, but you ain't grown when it comes to taking care of business. And again, this ain't got nothing to do with finances. I've dated women who have made more than me. I dated women who theoretically supported me. That's not my decision making or my protectiveness. See, so this ain't a financial thing. This is about taking care of business. If you want to be, what's the word that we call? What's the other phrase that we keep saying? I'm a grown ass man, and we probably said it just like that, regardless of our religion, because we ain't just a grown man. We grown ass men. We say it with our chest. I'm a grown ass man. Who you talking to like that? Well, I'm talking to your ain't shit ass, because you ain't doing grown ass man shit. Getting somebody pregnant ain't grown. Having sex ain't grown. Shooting a pistol ain't grown. Them shits anybody can do. I'm gonna tell you what grown ass men do. Grown ass men take accountability when they make a mistake. It might be hard for a minute, but at some point they can be like, yeah, I fucked up. You know what? I picked her because she had a fat ass. I knew she wasn't shit, but I just wanted to hit it. That's grown. Admit how you made that bad decision. You knew she wasn't. You know she wasn't. I ain't gonna put everybody else on the spot, but I can tell you, I done made that. And I know some of my friends who have done that, but then try to shift it to her. Oh, she missed out on a good man. Okay. What makes you such a good man? You ain't never dated you. Have you dated other men? What makes you so good all of a sudden? Because, and again, I like to use my co-hosts because I know they ain't sensitive. Theo has had more than one girlfriend. One might have left him. He might have left one. But they didn't think he was the one. DVP done had several girlfriends. All of them didn't think I was the one. Some wanted me for one night. Some wanted me for a week. Some wanted me just for a few minutes, and they got the hell on. When we make the statement that we good at this and good at that, and we single, to me it's kind of stupid because you're single. I ain't knocking. There's some good single guys out there, but keep that in mind. You're good single. See what I just did there? You're good single. It's kind of like when I talk to women, I'm like, man, you pretty and you weird, so that makes you pretty weird. Same thing. Sometimes when we're single, we great as shit. As partners, we not that great. Well, what makes you a good partner? I clean up. Yeah. If I ain't messy, that's some bullshit. I can cook. Well, if I don't eat a lot, that's some bullshit. So, I mean, tell me what makes you a good partner if you don't know what I want. You know, Theo got a fiance. You can put both of us side by side. We're both black men, but I'm sure she wants more than that. So whatever it is that Theo brings to the table that she like, puts Theo above me. But Theo can't say that because until Theo knows what she wants. She can't say how good a woman she is to Theo unless what she brings to the table is something that Theo is wanting. So when we do this, I'm good, this good, for who? For who? We've had sex with different people. Some we stayed with, most we didn't. So sex ain't don't do it. And this is that thing But again, this is an uncomfortable conversation because at some point, all you gotta do is just ask your partner, what is it you looking for in a man? What is you looking for in a partner? And then you'll find out if they really look for a partner, if they just look for somebody to have sex with for the night. You might not fit either bill. And same thing in reverse. I would say I've dated women that brought something to the proverbial invisible table that I didn't even know I needed until I got with them. It's like, oh shit, I never knew I was missing this because you can't miss what you never had. So I just, we're gonna have some more uncomfortable conversations, and let me go on and get Theo in here because I've been talking and Roy's sitting in the background doing whatever Roy's doing. He watching us. And I know what they're doing. He making up a little soundtrack so he can say that my JBN does not support the crazy theories of DVP or Theo when they ranting and raving. So we're gonna have that next show. Theo, what's good with you, brother?
Man, what's going on, man? I'm glad to be back.
I'm liking that new background. Where the TV at?
We made some upgrades. Say what?
Nothing. I was just saying what the TV is. I'm glad the TV gone. I like the new living room, dining room. I ain't sure what room that
is. Yeah, I'm playing around with it because it shouldn't be backwards like that, but it is what it is. I'll go back to this one for now. Yeah, got a new logo.
See how he's showing me up. See, that's how you get kicked off as a co-host when you show up the host. You know what I'm saying? He just, Roy, how do we get rid of this brother, Roy? He came on the show showing out. That happy 2025 to you, brother. Go ahead on, do your thing.
Man, happy 2025, man. No, man, I'm glad to be back, man. I had a little health scare in December, but good to go. Lots to talk about. Lots of things have happened. We're preparing for a lot of things. We're preparing for the Jim Crow Renaissance. It is upon us, and I can't say I'm looking forward to it, but if I'm going to be alive for it, I gotta prepare for it. So. Yeah, that's happening. Today is Dr. King's birthday. Anybody who knows me knows that I am a Dr. King stan. So I know we celebrated nationally on the day of the inauguration, unfortunately, but today is Dr. King's 96th birthday. It's crazy to think about the fact that Dr. King could actually be alive still. Like Jimmy Carter was just 4 years older than Dr. King. So that's always fascinating to me. Same with Malcolm, but actually Malcolm would have been 100 this year. In May he would have been 100. That is insane. But yeah, man. So I got a lot on my mind, man. Say what?
Hit me with it. Hit as Pat Bennett talk. I don't know.
Yeah, Malcolm was born May 19th. 1925, and King was born January 15, 29. Yeah. So I've been looking at some things that's been happening of late, especially in the post-election.
Before you get started, let me just start a little shit.
What?
Let me just start a little shit before you get started.
Okay.
Because the inauguration is Monday.
Okay.
And it's hilarious that y'all president-elect is mad because he got to share his day with Martin Luther King. he pissed about that. He pissed that the flag gonna be half-staffed with because of Jimmy Carter. And he still pissed with California because of Kamala. Kamala. Yeah, that to me is hilarious. Those three things, two people who are dead are at risk. Because I bet he's gonna try to change when it is. He don't want Martin Luther King to be on the inauguration day no more, ever, never. He gonna try to figure out a way to get that flag raised to full staff because he don't want to do it. It's like, how you mad at a dead guy? How you this is a rule. How you mad at a dead guy? I just want to say it because to me it's hilarious that those things agitate him.
Insecurity abounds with that man. So speaking of Trump, I feel like this doesn't even feel like an inauguration. This feels like just another day in the life of America for the last 8 years. It's interesting. I don't feel like he ever left office. We've been talking about this man for almost 10 years. But speaking of that, man, I've been noticing some things from the Democrats since the election that I wish had been more apparent during the campaign season, and certainly before we even got to the campaign. And that's they seem to be showing a little bit of grit, a little bit more grit. Some would call this bitterness. I call it finding your set of kahunas. And it's interesting because, in contrast to Barack Obama and Donald Trump's interaction during the funeral of Jimmy Carter, we noticed that Michelle Obama was noticeably absent. She won't be attending the inauguration. There was an incident in D.C. between Jasmine Crockett and Nancy Mace.
That's what I got to look up.
Yeah, so Jasmine Crockett is kind of she's a firebrand. You can tell she's being groomed as the next thing that's going to come out, the next big personality that's going to come out of the Democratic establishment. I'm not a fan, but I'm looking for a little bit more substance from a candidate. I'm looking for somebody that's going to be heavy policy, low personality, or mildly personality, and your personality has to. I like the spiciness. I like the grit. It's also triggering. She just reminds me of why relationships don't work out. But separating that, I think that kind of spirit is needed, but from everybody but Black women in the Democratic establishment. I think Black women have been propped up as the mascot for the Democrat establishment. I think they have been sicked on, Republicans and been sent out to do the bidding of white liberals. And so I would like to see that kind of fierceness in another body. I also think that that it's like day late, dollar short, because we needed someone who was going to kind of, just trade wits and sometimes go on the offense well before now. But I am glad to see Democrats kind of fight back, scratch back. I think that Michelle Obama's absence from Jimmy Carter's funeral, because she didn't want to be around Trump, her absence from the inauguration coming up, I think Kamala Harris's non-invite to JD Vance to do a vice president tour is all. Democrats they got to stop being church nice. And so I'm naming this segment Church Finger. We got to excuse ourselves from church. We got to excuse ourselves from the politics of politeness, because that's not working. And I think Barack Obama, his sort of niceties, those exchanges with Trump, is the old way of doing things. It should be the old way of doing things in the Democrat establishment. And we have to get to a point where I think Roland Martin made it clear when he was on Michael Steele's show last week. Michael Steele was the former Republican national chair. He was former chairman of the Republican National Convention. And then he kind of had a come to Jesus moment. And now he's I wouldn't call him you know, Democrat, but he's definitely not who he used to be. But anyway, he came on the show and Roland Martin was just kind of just laying it out there, like, you know, we got to be nasty, you know, because that's the language that's been spoken. And so my question to the audience is, what to what extent should Dems go to let Republicans know we ain't playing with you these next 4 years? What is what's between Obama and Jasmine Crockett? What's the scale on a scale of Obama to Crockett? What's the scale? And can we go a step further? And when I say a step further, I mean, do Dems need to have a faction within the establishment that is ready to potentially go to war with some potential insurrectionists? Does that need to be? Does it need to be on deck? Do folks just need to be on deck? Because I don't think that, based on the history of Republicans, that they're gonna play nice just because Democrats are playing nice or liberals are playing nice. We've seen sort of a changing of the tide. We've seen Mark Zuckerberg. I'm giving away all my talking points for my my podcast because I couldn't upload it this week. I'm actually in the process of working it out now.
Which comes on when, by the way?
So my podcast is pre-recorded. It's on Spotify. Chasing Huxtable. So I got 2 episodes up there now. I actually have episode 3 ready to go. It's done, but I'm having tech issues, so I've been back and forth with tech support. Anyway, but regardless, we've seen, like, you know, the Young Turks, the guy, I forget his name, the kind of stocky Iranian guy, progressive platform, probably the oldest progressive platform on YouTube. He went over and chumming it up with them folks over at Turning Point, trying to soften, you know, Republicans or conservatives to liberals. Is falling flat with liberals. We're seeing Mark Zuckerberg, you know, get rid of fact checking. Him kind of, you know, making an about face. But then we also see this other thing that seems to be happening where Dems are getting a little bit nastier than usual. They're not playing the nice game. And I'm glad to see it. It's like when your kid is, you know, your kid can fight. You know, they got some fire in them, but for some reason they just, you know. And then when they finally show a little it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I knew you. Go, like, you, by all means, do what you do. I think Democrats we need to see more of that. We need to see more of that from men. We need to see more of that from Black men. I'm tired of I think we've had 60 years of respectability. Some could argue more than that, but we've had 60 solid years of respectability within the Democrat establishment. We need to see Black men at the fore, whose views may be slightly, you know, different from Black women. That's okay. Certainly different from white men. That's okay. Certainly different from white women. That's okay. Emerging from that space, because America has clearly chosen the strong man. Now, do I believe Trump is a strong man? No. I think that any man who could chum it up with a dictator, collude with the enemy country. You know, Russia's been our enemy since Rocky and Drago. Who can chum it up with them And when he wins again, they flash images of his wife when she was a centerfold across the national. It would be like us putting her picture on like CNN. The Kremlin did that after Trump won this last time. Any man who who allows that is not a strong man, but he's doing a very, very good strong man act. And I think it is high time for Democrats to produce a strong man, not a man that is aggressive, but a man that knows that's principled, that has a good grasp of policy, a good idea of where the country should head, and that's not afraid to go on the offense. We got that nice shit is done. Obama was the last nice guy. He should be the last nice guy of the Democrat establishment for the next, I would say, 20 years. We need somebody to get mean. We need some, and people will warm up to the people when Bernie Sanders kind of has this brand as like the grumpy old white guy, but he doesn't have the pizzazz. Sir, don't do that to me.
Oh, that was for Roy.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Bernie Sanders didn't have the charisma. He didn't have the charisma. He had the righteous indignation, which we need that, but we need it packaged. We need an angry Obama. We need somebody who is just as smooth and poised, but is also like we can step outside. like Nancy Mace was in the Capitol, I think yesterday or day before yesterday, and she challenged Jasmine Crockett to go out to step outside because Jasmine Crockett said, "Who child?" And she took it as her saying, as her calling her an actual child, not understanding this is AAVE. This is how Black people, communicate. Yes, it's our vernacular. But it was okay for her to do it, and she didn't get called ghetto or none of those things. But that's one thing that Republicans have never been afraid to do. Republicans are unapologetically themselves.
See Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah, there we go. Like, right, exactly. Like, we need the equivalent of that, but it does not need to be Black women. I think Black women have paid their dues. I think Black women, okay, so Black women have paid their dues. Black women have taken the Democrat establishment as far as it could go. I also believe that the push for Biden by Black women, and that energy could have been used behind a more progressive candidate. And so I appreciate the service of Black women in the Democrat establishment, but the loyalty has become toxic.
Who is the more progressive candidate? Give me three options.
I can't name any. There are some names, but I don't see Hakeem
Jeffries.
Hakeem Jeffries. It would have been Gavin.
Is he ready?
I think
he's getting ready, but I don't think he's ready yet.
Yeah.
Next up and come, but I don't think he's. I think this election made him speed up his timeline.
Right, but he'll be ready in 4 years though, for sure.
Yeah. But like I said, right now, like I said, that's why I said give me three candidates. I don't think we got a good candidate.
Yeah, we don't. But that's kind of the problem though. It's like we should have.
Is there Biden spot that we don't have a candidate?
No, I think it's, and people are gonna hate that I say this. I think it's the relationship between Black women and Joe Biden needs to be studied. like I don't understand it. I don't understand it. And so
Yes, you do. If Joe Biden ain't nothing else, he's fiercely loyal to family. He is fiercely loyal. That in and of itself will always be something that Black women will relate to.
Okay. Black women have long memories. It's like we all know the women in our lives who can remember something that you said in 1998 on a Tuesday at 3:13 p.m. in rush hour traffic while Jodeci was playing. And I don't understand the forgiveness from Black women toward Joe Biden to the extent that they push this man ahead of Bernie Sanders or any other progressive. I do understand it from a strategic standpoint. I get it. But I have trusted Black women's political insight and direction, and I don't get this last 4 years.
Yeah, listen, I'm gonna bring you out of your stupor because you okay. What is Biden's claim to fame in Black America?
It's Barack Obama.
Barack Obama.
Right.
Who is the number one living Black person in the world right now?
Yeah, Barack Obama.
So that right there gives you everything you need to know why Biden exceeded everything, because he was with Obama. And then as we discussed this, he lost his son. What better way to gain compassion? He lost a son. Trump went after his son, but he's been fiercely loyal to his drug addicted son, his tax evading son, his wife, everything about him. If we look at it and we're honest, is that not what Black women want from us? They want somebody who's going to be fiercely loyal to family, take care of their kids, and just because you got me doing a little research, even as a politician, and I had to do this. Most of the domestic violence policies and the women protection policies came from Biden and bills he wrote and sponsored. The whole I found this out when I was doing domestic violence. The whole thing where every state gets money for doing DV stuff that came from the Biden bill. So in theory, there's some things that he alone has done, and he did have when he was a senator. He did have the ability to cross. He was a shrewd negotiator. But as we look at it, we're being okay, and who wasn't? So if you use that as a standard,
he was known for being crooked, though.
Again, who wasn't?
So here's where I get confused, and this is why I didn't trust Kamala. Because so when Biden is running against Trump in 2020, and everybody's running, this is we're still in the primaries, and Kamala Harris makes that comment about, I was the little girl who was on the bus that was basically, she was like, I was a little girl who you were trying to keep from being around your kids. And then, fast forward, of course, Biden wins. She's now the VP. When did that disconnect take place where it's like, okay, I can remember racism is still like the big bully in the room. Like it's not like we have, we're not in the post-racial era. What's going on, Mr. Mosley? So when did Black women in particular forget that to the extent that they would go around everybody and pick Joe Biden? Like we can't forget the 1986 and 1994 crime bills. I get it. I get the revamp. I get he's Obama adjacent. I understand all that, but Black women are so smart and intelligent. I'm not saying that there's not an ounce of facetiousness in that when I say that. If America voted like Black women, we would be the most progressive country in the history of the world. But but Biden is our Achilles heel. And when black men were doing this, now mind you, some black men were doing this in the direction of Trump, but there was a faction of black men, myself included, who in theory said, you know what, I will pick a candidate that represents the values that Cornel West embodies. Not Cornel West, maybe not Cornel West, right? But that's the direction we should be heading into. And so that's why I think black women have taken the Democrat establishment as far as it can go. And now we need a poised, polished, angry black man. We need an angry version of Obama to take the rest of the lead. Take us the rest of the way.
Go ahead, Joe. What you got? Joe is my historian.
Oh, forgive me for what I'm about to say, gentlemen, but Theo, to your welcome to 2025, and I have to tell you, I have to agree with most of what you said.
Okay. Okay.
I will say this: there's so much to unpack with this, and based on the numbers that I have, black men overwhelmingly went for Trump. Overwhelmingly. The interesting thing there, now we can talk about the religious hypocrisy. Again, that's probably another show in and of itself, and why she lost, but she did. The other issue, and to your point, the word you were looking for was feckless.
Yes.
A polite way of saying whatever, like a rooster. And let's be correct about the Obama factor. The Obama factor is dead. Trust me, trust and believe that. One of the biggest complaints that I got from friends across the country was, how come this guy can come in and preach to us only at elections?
Right.
I don't know if you've heard that, but that certainly was something that I got.
Absolutely. That's how I felt.
And the issue was, and they're true. I mean, if you listen to his impromptu speeches,
They're supposed to get their word out today.
You don't have to, I'm not paying to see you lecture me. I want to hear, some rah rah boom boom.
Right.
And to your point, until the Democrats grow some cojones, and let's call it what it is, until they grow some balls in the form of men, and your history is right on the money. Historically, black women have been the vanguard for the Democrats into the black community. I mean, and again, we can have that discussion at another point. The question I've said, and I don't know if you and I have had the conversation, but even if you look at how the Democrats operate, it's almost like self-inflicted gun wounds. And here's what I mean. And let me give you some historical context for this. I want you to go back and I want you to find me during Obama's presidency, how many blacks he endorsed for a national office. It's going to knock your socks off when you find that. That's number one. So some of the hypocrisy is in front of us. Do they truly want change? And again, that's another issue in and of itself. The promise of a better future is something that everybody wants. Now, if you looked at how this guy played us, well, let me say this. I'm not mad at what they did. They did their job. They played to the base. And all the pundits were saying, oh, she's going to blow him out. She got blown out. She got waxed, even in her home state. I mean, let's just call it what it is. So, in our business, in my former line of work, we would do what's called an autopsy, a post-mortem. What caused this to happen? And to this point, nobody's talking. But then again, Where's Donna Brazil and all the talking heads at? Where are you now? But again, what did they bring up? Here's the other interesting thing. And again, because I'm in Chicago, I see the policies. When it hits you all, it's already hit here. Not trying to be downgrade, sure. But this is where this thing's forming. So if we look at all politics is local, go look at your city council. Tell me why there's more black women in city council than black men.
Oh, you're right up my alley, because there's only one on our city council where I live and work.
Well, let me get you another one.
Okay.
The most powerful, and I teach this on some of my classes. What is the most powerful elected office in this country? And in most cases, kids will tell you, the president. Mm-mm. It's United States Senator. Let me tell you why. Everything has to go through the Senate. Nominations, confirmations, budgets, black ops. We won't even talk about that right now. There's 425 members of the lower house. There's only 100 members of Congress. Now, also remember this. The president can only sit for 2 terms, 8 years. The senators sit for 6 years, unlimited. The congressmen sit for 2 years, really 18 months if you look at the election cycles. So let's talk about strategies. When our former president was there, tell me how much he invested in building the future of the Democratic Party. And again, I'm referring to the Barack factor.
Right.
Again, I'm not trying to be funny or salacious, but he did more damage than anybody else. The one thing you've got to give, or the couple of things you've got to give to the Republicans, they not only ignited their base, they got more people coming to the base. The fact that black folks, look, I don't know if you listen to gospel. I'm a big gospel guy at times. BB and CC Winans, they endorsed Trump. The black clergy,
Mary did. Mary,
yes. The black clergy went for Trump.
Jamal McClendon, or Clarence McClendon, sorry.
The base of the Democratic Party, or what should have been historically, black churches, right?
Right.
Didn't touch him. Overwhelmingly. Now, part of that also goes to what I call the religious hypocrisy. And most of the people I talked to, which would disturb me to no end, they quoted this thing that said, "No woman can lead." I almost punched a couple of guys out, but I'm too over that at this point. But that was it. And they went with that. But now listen to this. We just got 2 black female senators elected. How many black male senators do we have now?
Right. And and people think that when black men make that argument, and I do understand that there is a faction of black men who are absolutely what you just described. I'm thinking from a strategic standpoint, and I'm also thinking from an energetic standpoint. There is the way that we show up, the way that black men show up in these spaces when we are on, Denzel, Denzel's actress equivalent is probably Angela Bassett, right? But everybody knows that Denzel makes, he freezes the room up, the room stops. Angela Bassett does her thing, she's a dynamic actress, but when black men show up, there is something about the room that shifts.
Well, certain black men. I mean, that's like
certain black men.
That's like comparing Tyler Perry to Denzel. Tyler Perry can't turn a room like Denzel.
That's true. That's true. And so, and you're right. And to that point, I don't know why the Dems have not groomed, because Barack Obama should be a beta version. He should be okay, black male political beta form. We know how to package a black male, political figure and make him, palatable to white America and all the things. We got it. We got it down pat. He's the prototype. But now we need to add some other traits and elements to this avatar, and we need to reproduce that. And one of those things needs to be righteous indignation. It needs to be a measured kind of anger and passion that can also be kind of reflected in policy, but more so because, again, America is Trump. The right has shown us that America does not care as much about like policies and laws and the things that government is supposed to do as much as it says it does. So we should get away from that and really start to be more deliberate about kind of scaling out a Barack Obama type figure. But it cannot be Barack Obama, and it cannot be anybody from the Barack Obama tree. And to your point, he's not really interested in doing that anyway. That dude is making movies. I'm not mad at it, but it's weird. You know, it's weird that you're producing movies, and then you're doing all these other things. You're on boats and you're doing your thing. I get it, but then you hop back in to finger wag black men, and then black men are supposed to. Like we're supposed to respond to Obama like he's a paternal figure, but I don't know any black men who look up to Obama like that. My generation is probably we are probably more prone to see him in that way because I said this before. He came on the scene when we were politically maturing, but we're 40 now, and so. You can't stand in front of us. You know, I got bills, I got kids, I have, a career, I got all these things. And so you talking to me crazy or like I'm stupid doesn't sit. It's not going to have the same effect as it would when I was 24 years old. So we need a sheep in wolf clothing.
Can I add to that real quick? Here's what we need. And let me just digress just for a second. Black men are tired of being lectured to. Now, I'll say this, and I'll take whatever flack I'm going to get. I'll just say this word: Manchurian Candidate. But that's again topic for another day.
Right?
And he's proven. I mean. Is the first black elected president of the United States, and what does he do? He kills another black head of country, Muammar Gaddafi. But okay, I'm on that road. I will say this: both sides, and the problem with the libertarian are that they don't hold enough standardization to anything. Cornel West and those guys come off. Here's no saying. It's actually African in nature, but the Native Americans have been given credit. The right wing of the bird and the left wing of the bird are still attached to the same bird.
Yep.
So in that vein, until we start taking over and reforming these base level arguments, we can't go forward in either one of the parties. Steele showed that he could do it, and then he got rid of his butt. Steele was actually changing some platforms. If you go back and read some of the stuff that he was doing, and that's why they got rid of him as the chair of the RNC. Now, if we look at this from a historical and a managerial issue, they took the Tea Party, which was extreme right, and made it into a new image which was palatable to the masses.
Yes.
MAGA. I know more black MAGA does. This is I got the picture and I'll send it to you. There was a guy in 2 days ago. He's got a Trump 24 flag, and it says "niggas for Trump."
Yes.
Black dude.
Yeah.
Line of I can't make it up. I almost ran into the bathroom. But
I don't.
Go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
I believe part of what Theo said was, and I'm gonna ask you, Joe, who is it? And this is what I think our problem is. Who is it that's prepared to lead that we will look up to right now? And let's be specific, a black man. What black man right now do you think could garner the attention from most brothers in the country?
That's a good question. Because, but see, what we're looking for is a combination of Malcolm X, Obama, and King all rolled into one. And again, the problem I have is that if we really do a deep dive on Obama, I dare any one of you, I challenge anyone within the sound of my voice to go back and find me where he did his community activism at.
Well, and the point I'm getting at is that I think it's been the same thing for years. We keep wanting somebody else to do it. None of us will step up and become that person. So we keep doing it. And where we don't like being talked to, this is where I see us losing our women more and more. We don't want to be talked down to, but we don't want to listen to them either. Because as I listen to what you say, Theo, how many times have we asked black women what they want? Because most of the time, a lot of times, they are more politically astute than us. They are listening to all the little issues. While we're, not us three, but while we see our brethren keep wanting to play victim, keep wanting to always be, they never want to step up to the plate. They never want to swing. They never want to fight. They want somebody else to do all the dirty work, and then they want to come in and receive the credit. So we, in my mind, black men, are who is killing us more than anything else, because we will not step up to the plate. We will not sit back. We keep sitting back. We don't step up. We keep waiting for somebody else. Well, what about us? It's no different than when I talk to the people from, I think it was Ferguson. At some point, why can't we develop our own political leaders? Why can't we do this? Why do we keep waiting on somebody to come? And again, we grown ass men. We want to be the leaders. We want to be the kings. We want to be all this other things that we say. And everybody want to be a boss until it's time to do boss shit. But when you ask somebody to step up, you know, who's there? Who's there? And we keep following that same pigeonhole. And I say, I like Obama, but not to the point where I'm a fanatic. There's some things I like about him, but he made me understand politics, that they voted me in, but then we stopped paying attention to what Joe just said. We stopped paying attention to the Senate, not realizing who has the power, because we're told it's the president, when over the years we learned the president can't do shit without them other folks. But where do we start doing it? Like when I reached out to you the first time, when do we start holding things where we teach people politics, where we do it in separate groups? As Joe brought up, it might have been you, Theo, the Bayard. And his name?
Yeah, Rustin Bay. Yeah,
Rustin.
Bayard Rustin.
When you got people like him who are doing things, but who shut him out? We
black
did.
Men. But here's where I will. I think black men had our time, right? They were like, so when you look at the civil rights movement and up through, I mean, I would say civil rights movement up through Obama, like black men had our time, and we did a lot with that. We did a lot within that time frame. I'm not gonna just say there was an element of misogyny there. Where there are men, there's misogyny, right? I get all that. Black men, but black men were by and large fighting for the progress of all black people. I think what happened is when the guard changed and the focus became black woman centered, there was something happening in pop culture at the same time, and black women were ascending to these seats of power and influence, but they weren't bringing black men with them the way black men were bringing the black community. Now, problematic as it was, we all know that there was an element of even whether it's Black Panthers, Dr. King had some issues with even his own wife being involved in the civil rights movement. We know the Nation of Islam was a very conservative sort of marriage to these strict gender roles. Got all that. But the community was still heavily considered. The progress of the community was still being heavily factored into the decision making of the black male policymakers. Black women are coming along. In my age group, this is my generation. Jasmine Crockett, that's my generation. These are Beyoncés who got degrees. These are Beyoncés who have, who are extremely accomplished. They're not thinking holistically. They're approaching these opportunities with advancement of Black women in mind. And there's nothing wrong with it on the face of it, but if at some point you don't bring Black men along with you, because Black men did bring Black women along with them, then you see an imbalance. And I think what we should now be looking for is, okay, everybody had their time. Black men had their time. Black women have had their time to do it, separately and quasi separately. And now it's time to your point, DVP, when you said, why don't we do it? Well, the reality is that the Democrat establishment chooses who it wants to be in the fore. And so if Black women are steering the ship, then I'm expecting Black women to who are in these circles and who have a louder voice to say, no. Nina Turner. No. We need to bring black men. No, there are some formidable Black men. I know a Black man that's running for, state representative here, city council there, school board there. We need to put the weight of our influence behind these Black men who are running on the local and state level, and then groom them to become larger voices in the establishment as a whole. I'm looking for Black women to actually do that, because when black men are in these rooms, the people have been conditioned to not listen to us. They've been conditioned to not hear reasonable. I'm talking about reasonable Black men. They've been conditioned to not hear us, and reasonable Black men have been conditioned to defer to Black women, because that is considered like that's decorum now. I watch Native Land.
It's called cowardice.
It's not cowardice. It's called, we've been hearing Black girl magic for the last maybe 10-15 years,
and we keep crying victim.
No. It's because we actually agreed with Black girl magic. We actually said, yes, Black girl magic. We support it. We're behind it. And so we have said, I want to make space for this sister. But what the white liberal establishment did was exploited that. And then they elevated Black women to the extent that now there's a chasm between us, and they have used Black women.
Okay, hold. Can I just throw two things in there?
Yeah, first, we got 2 minutes. Give it to me.
Let me just say this. Remember this acronym PTSD. It doesn't necessarily stand for post-traumatic, but it does stand for post-traumatic slave disorder also. Yes. And I'll also say this: we hate us more than they hate us. So when they play those two things together, that violin gets to going. And I can tell you, I've run for office and I've told the truth, had numbers, and people told me, man, they don't want to hear that. So it's the problem is not just the presentation, it's the audience is our audience. We're so down in the mind of slave and master syndrome that we listen to their voices before they listen to you. I'm done.
And yeah, I want to finish this, but when I look at when we have a public stage, and I look at where the Black men stand up, which is why I asked you, gentlemen, what Black man is capable? And I think Hakeem Jeffries might end up being one, but every time something comes up, I ain't seen them defending nobody. At some point, as you say, at some point, we have to step up and be the bearer. We have to stand up and take these blunts. When Marjorie Taylor Greene, when they talking trash to these Black women or these women of color in Congress or in the Senate, what Black man is standing up? Not Bingo. One. And Bingo. We can't keep sitting back saying it's them. As we look at all the leaders, and we're gonna lead Malcolm, Martin, everybody I'm naming. You know what they had in their corner? This is what agitates me the most about Black men. You know what they had in their corner? A strong Black woman behind her who didn't mind being in the back seat. And It wasn't. I guarantee you, it wasn't us so much as them giving us the strength to go on. I bet we wanted to quit more than we will admit to. And the woman in the background saying, "Baby, they need you more than we need you." Don't want their loved one to get killed. So where are we when they hit the front line when people are threatening them?
But here's the thing:
AOC, who stood up for Maxine Waters, who stood up for Cynthia McKinney? What black man stood up? Even though Punk Killer Mike, he supported Bernie Sanders, and when didn't that happen, he disappeared. Where are we standing?
And low key supported Trump.
Right. Yeah. But where are the black men when it comes to supporting our women? Because they don't want to listen to us no more. Because what's the biggest threat to black women? Black men. Joe just said it. We are the biggest threat to each other and our own kind. So who wants to listen to us? We're destructive and we're always victims. We're always crying. Oh, nobody respects me. Oh, the police hunt me. Stop the madness. You doing dumb stuff. And at some point, we got to step up and separate the niggas from the blacks. We can't keep running in this nigga mentality and pulling and let niggas pull us down. I was on the show and goes, "Oh man, but you special because you did." I ain't special because I did nothing. I just didn't keep following that same mentality. As Joe said, the post-traumatic slave disorder. I know my place. I know racism exists. I can either succumb to it and learn my place, or I say, "Fuck, I'm gonna do this." And if y'all want to come, what I say about us forming our own groups. People who want to come, gonna come. Anybody that don't want to come, you got to leave them behind. So, but we gonna, hey, get your notes ready because I'm getting the sign that I'm gonna get fined by the FCC. So we're gonna finish this next week. So let's get everything together. But y'all, my two political, historians, let's find some black men who we think have the potential.
There's a guy. There's a mayor in. I'm sorry. There's a.
No,
there's a mayor.
Discuss it next week because it's 8:01.
Gotcha.
Let's have everything, but let's talk about who may be, and let's look at them and see what are they really doing. What are they? Who should be next? Who should be next? All right. So give me your parting shot so we can get out of here. Go ahead, Joe, because you ain't got no show. Oh, Joe, that's right. You do have a show. Go ahead, Joe. Tell them what's going on with you.
Man, I'm just happy to be here talking with you two brothers.
Whatever. What you got, Theo? You got anything coming on this weekend?
Follow me at Chasing Huxtable on all major platforms: Facebook, IG, YouTube, fan base. We on Spotify, wherever podcasts are podcasting. Find me there. Just gotten started with really pushing this, and glad to be here. There's a space between. We're all in this space, right? Where we are either our careers are financing our dreams, but we really want our dreams to finance our lives. And so I just encourage everybody out there to just keep pushing, keep going. And the first step on a 1,000-mile journey is step one. Well, I think whatever.
It's really having an old man push out your comfort zone, but he don't want to say that.
No, you're right.
Old bully to push him out your comfort zone to get there. But hey, we're gonna do this again, and we're gonna do better because even when I'm in California, I'm gonna make sure these brothers can carry on the show without me because they got good debate. But we're gonna figure this out. Like I said, we're gonna have some uncomfortable conversations. We're gonna make you be accountable in 2025. Joe, I still ain't got my list of books you were supposed to send me. I'm just let you know I'm gonna call you out as we parting.
Hey,
but
man,
I appreciate you.
The list of
soundtrack that said, whatever we talking about, we ain't representing my JBN. Joe, send me that list. And fellas, we're gonna have a group chat because I need for y'all to take over while I'm in California. All right. So y'all know what it is, right? I'm finished with my thing, peace, popcorn, and chicken grease, and y'all know what it is. We out 2025. I'm gonna hit you up, Joe.
Okay.